If I lose Alex Wassabi, then I will never do music and I'll never box in my life.
I told y'all he was going to do it. But before we go into that, first of all is right with the world again because Faze Temperrr is officially the winner. He's been awarded his unanimous decision, literally exactly as I thought, which is either 4 rounds to 1 or 3 rounds to 2. Now, I wanted to talk about not the appeal, but the rigging. Was there actual rigging going on? This caught my eye and I thought this was pretty interesting. The official statement had some pretty weird things on it. Now, this is the official statement. It states that due to dangerous and chaotic circumstances experienced by our officials, we accepted Temperrr's appeal based on the ground that our officials were subjected to working conditions that were not normal when it comes to properly and accurately officiating an event. Now, I saw some people talking about this, and one of the things was that the judges were right next to the fans. Like, fans were actually taking selfies with the judges. And I think this was happening in between rounds. KSI recently said after Kenny and Temperrr fought, he thought that Kenny had won or that it was close, but he said he was able to look at the judges' scorecard.
Well, and then I looked at the judges' scorecard, and I was like, "Oh, he's won. Kenny's won."
Right, so he saw something. Just the fact that he was that close, right? So if he actually saw the judge's scorecard, like how close was he? I say this because the event was insane. Not just the fight itself, but prior to the event, I guess going into the arena, it was very difficult to get in. People were trying to barge in. Of course, us being on the USA side, we felt like it was more dangerous for us. We had security everywhere. But then that made me think, right? Initially, when you hear rigged, you think maybe the judges took a payday, something like that. They're doing it for their country. But then I realized dangerous conditions. If there are fans that close to you, all it takes really is just one fan to make a remark or do something, just make you feel a little off. Let's say you're a judge. Let's say that a fan says, "You better be pulling for the UK," or just makes some sort of remark that's anywhere near threatening. I just think that the judge would be like, you know what? I'm just going to put 4 to 1 for Kenny and call it a day because I want to go home. I didn't think of it that much. That it's not so much that was the fight rigged or were they pulling for the UK and them being against USA. More so, were they actually afraid? These guys are judges. They're just regular people and they got to do a job. You know, all these fans, it's too hyped. Kenny comes in, the crowd's going crazy. If I give Temperrr this decision, what's going to happen to me? And just reading that really made me empathize with the judges and thinking, you know what, man, if I was a judge and I felt like this is going to get crazy and I felt like the security that I have around me isn't going to work. I just heard and saw that after the Deji fight, the judges, when they turn in their scorecard, the security escorted them out of the building. And it was actually Alex Wassabi who said it on a podcast. He said that's when he realized he won because they found out that the judges were escorted by security immediately after turning in their scorecard.
I knew that I won before I won. Yeah. And there's a reason. It's because I went to my corner and I was like, yo, did I win? And they're like, yo, when the judges gave their scorecards, the security escorted them out. So I'm pretty sure you won. And I was like, oh, because they would have got attacked. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I won.
So thinking about that night and how the event was in the environment and the hostility, I have no doubt in my mind that these judges, or a few of them, mainly the one who scored it 4 to 1, just wanted to make it home that night. Maybe someone did threaten him. Maybe someone just made a weird remark. And maybe it was just the vibe that the judge was getting and he didn't want to chance it. And he said, listen, this is just a YouTube event. This isn't even like a world championship thing. They have the opportunity to appeal it. Who cares? Let me just put this down so I can get out of here. Because if you feel unsafe, that's wild. The fact that they were taking selfies and they were that close to people, that's just, there's no room for that. Judges have to be unbiased. They have to be able to feel comfortable making those decisions. I don't know how many of you were there or if any of you were actually near the judges. Please, I am super interested to know the details and what it was like to be a judge in between fights where there are people, fans coming up to them and talking to them during the fight in between rounds. What was that situation like? Because that can never, never, never happen again.
As a warm-up fight, just to get rid of the cobwebs, I fight Alex Wassabi. Okay, let me just go in. Come up.
I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so. A big part of me is not surprised because JJ's is one of those dudes that would be willing to lose the weight just for the sake of being Alex Wassabi. That's how important it is to him. That's how competitive he is. It's like when 50 Cent lost all that weight for a movie role. He literally said that he wouldn't charge anyone for the event, that he just needs a tune-up fight. He's clearly got his sights set. He wants to get back into boxing. I personally thought that he was just going to ride up to the Sensei and continue with music, but he literally said if he loses to Alex Wassabi, he'll quit music and boxing.
If I lose Alex Wassabi, then I will never do music and I'll never box in my life.
I think with KSI being at the event, I think it really hyped him up. If Alex wants this fight, I believe he's going to have to jump on it, because the more time that goes, the harder it is for this fight to happen. KSI is still so bothered by it, so he's willing to say, we'll do it for free, I'll lose all the weight, I'll put my music career and my boxing career on the line. Honest question, if this fight happens, who do you think Deji is going to be cheering for? What side is he going to be on? This situation is still so bizarre. Alex Wassabi is fighting because he can't stand how JJ is treating Deji, and like JJ wants to fight him not only to avenge Deji, but also to prove how bad Alex Wassabi is at boxing.
I mean, Deji, this is how you can do it.
My gut tells me that this doesn't happen because a part of me feels like KSI is gonna want to not lose too much weight. I think Alex, if he was smart, would be very, very critical about that weight and not go back and forth with KSI about that, and we might get into a stalemate. Because if Alex has any chance, he has to be in tip-top shape, and he needs a few advantages. And one of the advantages would be him fighting in his weight class and forcing JJ to come down. That will help take away a bit of JJ's power. But if Alex tries to fight at his natural weight or a little bit heavier and tries to meet him somewhere, it's just bad news. Even Alex admits that he doesn't have punching power in terms of like knockout power, right? And we know that JJ can knock people out. I mean, he put down Logan, and these dudes were around 200 pounds. But listen, a fight is a fight. I get where JJ's coming from by saying that if he loses against Alex Wassabi, he thinks that he should just not do music and not do boxing, pretty much just end his career. But that would probably be the greatest upset. I know these guys aren't like world beaters and world-class fighters, but in terms of this realm, but I'm curious, who do you think is being more serious about their call out? But I'm curious, who do you think is being more forthright about their call out? Or do you think it's something where JJ just saying, Alex is never going to take the fight, he's going to force me to lose too much weight? And is Alex just saying, he'll never come down to my weight class, so you can kind of get away with just saying whatever? In this case, I hope it leads to a fight because it's a great story, and Alex would be a crazy underdog. And I like fights where there's a really big underdog and a really big favorite. It just makes for a good moment. So let me know what you think. Leave a like and subscribe. Oos.